Okay. Okay. So we were, I guess, went to the bathroom to get your eyes checked. I'm looking at his wall, and I'm like, Johnny got a lot of rules up in this room. And he's like, "What you mean?" I'm like, "Rules to live by, rules of money. What's something about house rules or something? Something over here." So he was like, "Oh, that'll be a good topic. Like rules. Like, do we need so many rules?" And like talk about how like rules that we had growing up, or I had growing up, or you had different rules that we did, and like just talking about rules and how that affects us, people, relationships, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So do we need rules? Is that like the first
Do
question?
we need so many rules?
I mean,
the question.
I think so many is subjective. So it's like help me, I guess, maybe redefine so many, or like bring so many down.
I guess I see what you're saying.
Because I mean, like, definitely, I'm a person who believes in structure. I'm a person who believes in rules. We have rules for reasons. And of course, as a kid, it's like you don't always understand or
Rules are
care.
everything.
Right,
Literally.
exactly. Like rules are literally like your life as a kid. And it's almost as if like you don't even get much conversation. You just get instruction to follow a rule or punishment when
If
you
you
did
don't,
not.
right.
Right. So I can't understand like from a child's perspective, and we've all been, in that position where it's like, oh my God, rules, rules, rules. But as a parent, and I'm sure what our parents are trying to explain to us, like, it ain't just my house. Once you get into the real world or whatever, as an adult, there is a buku more rules. That's just life.
So a part of me feels like, yes, I agree with you, but a part of me feels like sometimes we have way too many rules. But again, that's subjective. I'm gonna get to that in a second. To my point that supports that in a second. We have way too many rules that we have no. Sometimes, like I feel like human nature is to break it when we have too many restrictions. So what I'm thinking of is like going to a different country and like when we're in the DR and we're driving wherever with the taxi. What was his name? Do you remember his name?
I don't remember.
Okay, but our taxi driver, our chauffeur for the weekend.
Yeah.
And the way that they drive, and we're always saying like, oh, they drive crazy here. But it's like they don't really drive crazy. It's kind of how they drive here, but they don't have as many like road rules as we do in the United States. What we have is driving the lines, put on your blinker if you're going left or right. No, what's it called? Turning right.
They got lines.
Right.
They ain't got
exactly.
lines.
They ain't got no lines.
Yeah.
Right. But so they drive crazy, but it's like
Yeah.
everybody falls into place naturally. So they know how to. They seem like they use their common sense because they're not dependent on the rules that we have with driving.
Yeah. So I hear what you're saying, and I hear that to say, or I interpret that as there are written and unwritten, or spoken and unspoken rules. So like the using the driving. So like I just said, like there's we have lines here, to draw a clear distinction of what is your side of the lane and then what's my side of the lane. So I'm gonna use that and say that is a written rule or spoken rule. But then when you go to other countries, their unspoken rule is it's still, this is my side of the road and this is yours, but I don't need something so, I guess, direct to get me to understand that.
Right.
So why are we as direct? Maybe I guess could be a question when it comes to subjectivity of the how so many maybe. It's like, why do we have to have so many spoken
maybe
rules?
Because there's more people here. So I think about like with my kids at Boys and Girls Club. If I have 5 kids, we're not doing nothing. I don't care what y'all do because y'all are less likely to get into trouble or to hurt each other when there's only a couple of us here. However, when I have all 18, I'm like, okay, no, we are sitting down. We need to do our question. We need to do this. Like I have to have more structure because they are more likely to get into an argument or to get into a fight or whatever. So maybe that could be the reason why we have so many spoken rules, whereas they can live comfortably with the unspoken rules.
Not to kind of like do what I do and get down and into the weeds of things and like definitions and stuff like that. But what you're saying implies that the number, the quantity of something determines, I guess, how direct, how overt a rule is? And then if that is the implication, why do you think the written rule or the spoken rule is based on how many? So just like what you just said with your Boys and Girls Club kids, why is it that 12 kids versus 5 creates chaos to the point that I have to go over rules?
Okay, I have a thought. You might have to walk with me here, but it's related to culture and size.
Okay.
So remember how I was talking about yesterday about how in America we can have whatever we want, however we want it.
Right,
So
all the
everybody has an opinion, and all
Yeah.
of those conflicting opinions causes chaos. Because I'm gonna disagree with you on what you say, or I think maybe hitting you is acceptable, but I don't like that you hit me, so I'm gonna hit you back, and now we're fighting. So because there's so many opinions, I have to say no. Y'all need to sit down in y'all seats, and that's the rule. Whereas if it were 5 people, 5 kids, it's kind of like, at least it depends on who it is. But if it's 5 of my girls, y'all not gonna fight each other. So I can kind of relax a little bit.
That's so interesting because you know, I hear stuff and I go off on so many tangents. So that's exactly like the principle in what you're saying is exactly what I feel about social media.
Okay.
Right. And the access that you all have to so many people, so many cultures, so many opinions. You're not designed to have all that. And what it does is it confuses things. It really does. Yeah, because when I was coming up and we did not have that, I was on the cusp of this, technological age. We just knew our community. That was as far reaching as we had access to, people, and pretty much everybody in our community thought
the same thing
and did as we did. Right. So to even connect and get to this whole rule thing, it was almost understood, if not just understood, that this is just what you do. These are the quote unquote rules to engagement that we didn't have to explicitly state.
Right.
But with you all and with us in general, just having access to so many, like I said, opinions and stuff, then we have to like draw that delineation.
Right. So even going back to the driving situation in the Dominican Republic, everybody drives the same because we all come from the same culture. Whereas in the United States, we have so many different, even like regionally, we do things differently and say things differently and all of that stuff. So it's like we have to have a standard across all United States. You have lanes, you have speed limits, traffic light rules and regulations, whatever, violations, etc.
So then that just causes me to go back to the quantity question. So then, so quantity, the number really does have a major implication on the reason for or the need for so many rules, So it's like we can't define so many without defining how many people this affects or it includes or whatever. Okay, so that helps. We went all around the world to help me get to so many, which I just have my mind think. But okay, yeah. So I guess like as a kid, like for you, like how was that? Like all the rules. And I don't think I had a whole bunch.
I don't think so either. Because I feel like it didn't necessarily come off as having rules, but having structure. So I guess the rule would be, okay, you're in bed by 8:00, but that didn't really register as a rule. That was what we did. So I don't really know. I see the necessity, like working with kids. I see why we need to have rules. Because oh my goodness, mommy, this one time we're in the cafeteria, and one of the cafeteria women came up to me. She said, "Hey, I know that we serve pears with everybody's trays, but if they don't want to eat their pears, just tell them to put it into this like the spoil pan."
Okay.
So I said, okay, I made my announcement. 4th and 5th, if you not want your pears, you can just put them in the spoil pan. Everybody started to get up. I said, no. Matter of fact, no. I will walk around with the fan. And you can put them in as I come by. Do not get up.
Right.
That was
why?
Because they're gonna get up, they're gonna start throwing pears, tossing them, shooting them into the basket.
Kids being kids.
Yes,
so, okay,
but that is not necessary right now.
Right.
Especially when y'all don't even feel like cleaning up after yourselves. I gotta make y'all do that. So no, we're not doing that.
Right. It's so okay. So then that to me exactly what you just described, the process that you went through, like your journey of thinking and assessing, allowing your kids to get up to throw their pears away or put it on the tray or whatever. It was and you seen the chaos that was going to come from that. Like that's exactly what parents do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with our kids, it's like we have a certain structure or a certain set of rules or whatever, because we know that without this structure, you're not gonna be your best.
No.
For example, like you just said, a bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a school age child, or even daycare, like we know that, okay, you got to be in bed by 8 o'clock, because if you don't have your 8 hours of sleep tomorrow, you're going to be a monster.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to get up in the morning.
Right,
you're going to have an attitude.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. And it's one of those things, I guess, those governing things that parents have that kids don't always understand. They just like, well, why can't I go to sleep when I want to go to sleep?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they may oftentimes fight parents on those things because they don't understand. And you know, what's my favorite phrase was when you don't understand something when you're young.
Or you understand it later in life, or
just keep living. Yes, just keep living. And all of this stuff is going to make sense. Like as you've started to see, you know, with like, yo, my mama was on to something, you know, like where you may have fought me internally because you never was one to like rebel or anything like that, but like I'm sure you internally could not stand me, you know, about certain things. But I think some of those things you now are like, okay,
yeah, I get
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's something that I see with my kids at work is that, which okay, I feel a couple of things. Mm-hmm. All of my kids have a group chat. They'd be like,
that's crazy.
Yes.
You said like, 4th and 5th grade?
Mm-hmm. Even younger than that, crazy. They have group chats. They be on their iPads. They be like, oh, somebody called my group chat. So they call them, I can't control, they call them group chat. Or they be like, oh, the group chat was so fun last night. We was talking about this.
What?
Group chats. And I'm trying to feel like, did we have group chats? No, we didn't have group chats. No, I was coming up because like, I mean, I know you be saying like, oh, I saw the technology, but like, I feel like I was the last person to have all of the technology, like starting from like flip phones, all the way up to the
you want to be like me so bad.
No, but I'm not always think about it. No. Because you weren't. Because I like you were in the age where like y'all had house phones.
Correct.
Well, okay. Wait, I guess it depends on when we starting technology from. Okay. But like you, okay, so you saw house phones. I guess portable, handheld phones, whatever.
Yeah.
So cordless. Thank you. Yeah. But like I feel like, especially with me having a phone so young, I was kind of in that same era as you. Like we had the same phone.
So you're equating your, I'll say, technological evolution to mine. Like, yes. So because you started off with a flip phone. That's what you're saying.
And that was like flip phones were like they didn't have no touch screens or anything. So it wasn't like I was out of place.
Right.
But I still like started from the bottom. And then eventually got my BlackBerry and whatever else.
Oh, but gosh. It's like, I'm the fact that you just said you got a BlackBerry. I was hoping you didn't say
why.
I don't understand your mama. So like to say that a child had a BlackBerry, like wait,
was a BlackBerry phone? Like the iPhone? Like was that like the phone?
It was, but not for like common people. You know, really? It was like I said, like government officials carry BlackBerries. CEOs carry
not like
BlackBerries. Right?
Okay.
My 5, 6, 7-year-old had a BlackBerry. Yeah, like
okay.
But it's all good. But go ahead, like connect that to what you were saying.
So even with me having a phone at their age in elementary school, nobody else had phones because that wasn't a thing growing up. Now all of the kids are born with not only phones in their hands, touchscreens and access to everything. So I remember like when group chats became a thing. Well, I don't even remember when it became a thing, but I feel like I was like middle schoolish, high schoolish. We started making group chats. We want to talk to people in group chats, whatever.
Really?
And yeah, because like you didn't have that ability at first.
Okay.
But now it's like, oh yeah, we was on the phone. We was talking in a group chat. It was so fun.
Oh my god.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
What was I talking about? Why did I bring up the group chat?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
We're talking about rules and like something that I feel like was necessary. Okay. So like, do you remember when you would be like, okay, you can't talk on the phone or text somebody past
a certain time. Yep.
Or you can't, social media was a big thing. Couldn't have no social media, couldn't talk to somebody past a certain time. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever those rules were for my phones, I feel like that is necessary because they have so much access to everything at all times.
Yeah. And so let's kind of make it clear for, I guess, the listening audience, the viewing audience. Like, so I told you, and I can't remember exactly like the age or whatever, that after a certain time or at a certain time of the evening, you could not be on your phone. Like it was what you couldn't text, you couldn't call.
Yeah, I thought I still had my phone, but I just couldn't talk to nobody.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, you did. But do you remember that time?
It might have been like 8, and then eventually 9.
Would be like 8, 9
like
o'clock.
Okay. I think it was like an hour before whatever my bedtime was.
Correct. Correct. That sounds right. And then that was like until like what age?
High school.
No, it's not. I mean, maybe.
No,
maybe
it was then like
maybe
9th, maybe 10th grade.
Not stop it.
10th grade is like extreme, but it was later.
That's extreme. Because I remember saying that you could not have social media until like I think it was like 15, 16.
I didn't get like social media. So I was like, yeah. So I was a junior.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. And of course, I know that was odd for your demographic because all of your people had what was it, the Snapchat?
Kik was a thing. I missed out on the whole Kik era. Yes, Kik was middle school. I missed out. And I be feeling
you ain't missed nothing.
Culturally, I feel like I missed something. Like, oh yeah, we had Kik. Well, I don't remember. Y'all had Kik. I don't remember.
But you didn't miss it. Okay. I'm not gonna belittle your experience. Okay. So you feel like you missed something. I don't think you did.
And it probably was what I'm missing out on is like the I guess the memory of being on Kik and talking about Kik. I don't even like Kik was just like a messenger app.
Oh, was it?
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
But people would refer back to Kik and like Uvu and a couple of other messaging apps. It's the same thing as your iMessage or your text message. But I think I also had maybe like a video call feature where phones didn't have video calls unless you had if you didn't have an iPhone, you couldn't FaceTime.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people had apps that supported like a video call situation.
Right. Right. So you just feel like you missed out.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're a better human being because you missed out. I mean, like
I
don't care what nobody say. Like, and that to me was because that rule, that restriction, that boundary to me was in the same capacity of why I didn't allow you to listen to rap and stuff, growing up. It's like I took a lot of ownership and pride in being a mother, being your mother, and knowing that I am raising a queen. I'm raising an adult. And so, like I always say, we don't raise children, we raise adults. And so I was like, I knew that there were certain avenues, certain things that like would not foster the type of adult that I knew that you could be and I wanted you to be. So I'm like, yeah, cut that off. If that makes her weird for a little bit, like socially weird, ostracized maybe, I'll take that. I'll work with you in therapy on that later. But, I'm like, I just still felt like as a parent, we're supposed to do the absolute best that we can for our kids. And in that process, it can hurt. It can create some damage, and that's something that we got to work through too. But I'm good with that. And especially when I see you and I look at you and I deal with you and I talk with you and I compare you to a lot of your, other people, peers. Your age, your peers. I mean, I'm going to toot my horn. I be like, y'all parents should have did something wrong with y'all. But, yeah, so I digress. But yeah, why was I saying that?
Talk about rules. It came back from the group chats. Because I've been feeling like, I didn't finish my thought.
My apologies.
That's why. But I feel like they be on these iPads all day, all night, talking about nothing. Little boy come to me and talk about something. Miss J, we was on a group chat last night and somebody farted. It was so funny.
What? How do you fart on a group chat?
I mean, just like you on FaceTime. And it's a group FaceTime now.
So the group chat is a FaceTime.
So you have your group chat you can text in, but now there's a capability we can FaceTime everybody in the group chat.
Wow.
So now you'll be on a group call, like a Zoom conference situation on FaceTime with Apple. And you'll be on a group chat talking.
Yeah.
About nothing. Roblox.
About nothing. And I don't even understand Roblox. I know it's a name that I hear, but what is it?
It's I don't really understand it either.
Okay.
But it's like you have your character, I guess, and you can interact and talk with different people it's a live game. So everybody that you're interacting with are real people.
Bruh.
And you can
Do you remember Sims?
Yes.
I'm sorry. That just made me. It's totally unrelated, but it just made me think about that and like how addicted I was to that game on the iPhone. And then you became a bit addicted to it, and I used to get so mad at you when you would like use up all my little points of my funds or whatever to do nonsense on the game.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I do. Yes. Yes. Because I used to be stacking up my coins. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna save. Give you the iPad, 0. And I don't see nothing different in my little community. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But okay, I digress.
That's so funny. I think people who play Sims are weird.
And I am. But
like, because people who play Sims and they'll play it like all day.
And I did.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it was such a great pastime.
Really?
Yeah.
I never I remember playing it, but I never really remember being addicted to it. But like, people will be on their computers playing Sims all day, like now at my age. And I'm like, I don't really.
Oh, it's still relevant or I didn't know that. Okay.
But
Roblox.
Yeah, I guess you can play little mini games like within it, but it's really like a virtual world. But because you interact with different people, it's like you're really in the world. But they be on it all day. That's all I hear about Roblox. My siblings tried to get me to play Roblox, and I was upset because I said, okay, let me make me an account, see what my siblings are talking about. I'm trying to customize my character. Everything costs money. And so I was like,
Sims.
Oh, I can't like customize my character. No, it's going to say something. Okay, you just have to pay 99 cents to get some Robux. And I said, oh, no, I do not want to play this no more. Don't ask me for no money.
Game.
Yes.
So is it like legit money that you have to pay?
You have to pay money to the app so you can have whatever their currency is, and that was Robux in the app. And then you can spend that money on.
So there's no way to say, because I think, if I remember correctly, like with Sims, like if you maybe played it for so long or something like that, you earned
if you can
money.
I'm sure there's a way. I hope there's a way.
Okay.
But my sister's first reaction was, "Oh, spend your money." So that to me is I'm not doing it.
That's crazy. Yeah. And so I'm trying to figure out whose money they spending.
They parents.
Like, even when we talk about, again, connect everything to these rules and these restrictions, right? Like, how do you have all of this access at what your sister's 9? At 9, to my money, to my bank account, where you're just playing a game and you're like, okay, well, I want to buy this new hat for this character or whatever, and it costs 99 cents. Oh, except.
Right.
So, like, would you think that there should be some sort of restriction on that? And then what would restricting look like?
So I think there should be, a few things. I think there should be like, I don't want to say like governmental restriction, but like whatever the game makers, I feel like, okay, so remind me of this conversation me and Ari were having about like advertising the kids. Like at one point, they were not allowed, I don't know who they were, but they were not allowed to advertise directly to children. But then somebody lifted that veil, and now all the adverts are like catered to, not all, but they're catered to children. It's kind of like predatory. Because kids don't know nothing. So like, oh, mommy, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. So I feel like in a similar fashion, I would like the game makers of this app to maybe put a restriction on. Like when you put in your date of birth to make your account, if you're under, say, 15 years old, you cannot spend more than 99 cents on a purchase. Or you can't, there's nothing in the game that requires you to purchase anything because you're underage. And then once you age, then you can start spending money in the game.
So I hear that, but then my thought is, how do they determine your age? I mean, you can lie
easily
in a birthday,
right?
Yeah, So I don't think that there should be any outside of my home governing, authority. I think that should be strictly on the parents.
And that was my next point. Okay. I think you shouldn't have no access to my credit cards,
right?
Or like even like I know on my phone or on all phones, your cards, you can autofill your card information, which is so helpful for me. But if you got little kids who want to spend their money on Robux, right? You just click the button to autofill. For mine, it requires a Face ID, and I'm sure it have like a password or a code or whatever to put in for it. But if your kids know that code or that password, they have access. So maybe change the password if they find it out, or whatever the situation may be. But it's not your money.
It's not exactly. Right. So exactly, it's not your money, and yet, and I'm thinking everything, like I just said, with the whole rules and restrictions thing at the core and the surface, the core and foundation of this conversation. Like there is absolutely no no structure, no discipline. It sounds like,
Mhm.
you know, in these types of cases where there's some sort of delineation between who I am as the authority figure, the parent, the person that goes out here and make the money,
Mhm.
and then who you are as the child. Like
The
you get
dependent.
all the same accesses that I do
Mhm.
to the money that I make?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
You know, but that's just, I guess, one aspect of it. But yeah, you definitely would not, even if I had you, you know, in this day. So if you were what, 8, 9 years old today, absolutely not would you
Mhm.
have those sorts of accesses. And for me as a parent, it's all about, because you don't need it.
Mhm.
I don't give a good doggone who got what
Mhm.
and what they pants to. You ain't with them.
Mhm.
You know, you my child, I'm responsible for you. But it's like we've discussed before, parenting is inconvenient. It is
Being a teacher is
totally,
inconvenient.
yes, inconvenient. And it seems like what I'm seeing today is that parents don't want to be inconvenienced.
Mhm.
You know, so they allow their kids all of these accesses just so they can do and be whatever they want to do
Mhm.
and be, you know, keep their child entertained or whatever. Whereas I was not,
Mhm.
you know, that type of parent. And perhaps, I mean, just to kind of be objective, perhaps it was because this social media, the way that it is, it wasn't this large.
Mhm.
It wasn't this monster of a thing when you were that age.
Mhm.
And I would probably need you to correct me on that, because you know I've been anti social media, because like even back in my day, I remember what Black Planet. Hell, I didn't even do MySpace.
Black Planet. I've never
Yeah,
heard that. Is
child,
that the first, like the before MySpace?
I believe, but don't give me the line, 'cause I ain't do none of it.
Okay.
Yeah, that just wasn't my thing,
Mhm.
you know. So I missed out on a lot of these platforms and stuff, just 'cause I just didn't care,
Mhm.
you know, about it. But shoot, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying.
Social media being a monster, what it is, or what
So
it is being a monster now than compared to what it was when I was growing up or you were growing up.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So like, do you think that? And shoot, no, I thought I had it, but no, I did forget
Mhm.
where I was in that thought.
We're talking about access. Parents don't want to be inconvenienced, so they give their kids access to
Thank
whatever, so
you.
they can go and do whatever they feel like doing too.
Yes,
Mhm.
thank you. Because, like, if you recall, like, I was that parent who I'm randomly checking phones.
Mhm.
You know, I am randomly checking iPhones.
So like TSA.
Right. Like, seriously. Like, seriously. That was me. I mean, you remember when, like, I started leaving you to, like, go out of town, and, like, I would video call you, and I'm like, let me see. You know,
Mhm.
like, let me look, like, turn the camera around, you know, like that was me. And that was an inconvenience. And it probably could have even been overwhelming and overburdening.
Mhm.
But again, for me, the thought was, and it continues to be, I got to take care of you. I got to make sure that you straight.
Mhm.
You know, whether you agree with it, whether you like it, I don't care.
Mhm.
You know, it's not, to me, it's not about you as a child's agreements, or satisfaction with it. It is about me making sure, ensuring your safety. Now, why did you smirk?
Because
Smile
I
at that.
had a thought about, because I understand what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
I have a couple of thoughts, so walk with me. A part of me feels like you were so heavily involved also because you were so young. So you had the energy to be super duper involved. Whereas
That's
people
probably-
who your age, you have a 7-year-old. My age at 7-year-olds, I don't feel like being super involved. I have to, that's my job. But so I think that, and then I also think about, so me and Jordan had watched Project X the other day.
I love that. It was my favorite movie. Yeah.
Yes. And it was like, I feel like a part of me feels like having that.
And you know you spent my money on that.
That
While
was
we
your
talking
money?
about this. Yes, having access. Right.
I thought it was my card. It was on my account.
No. I got them 2 emails, $4.31, Amazon. I look, I said, let me see what she did. Let me see if she put in her card.
So I watched it on my TV, but since it was on my account, I thought it went to my card. No.
3174. That's me.
Okay, well, let me see if it's $7 back.
God God dang. Just talking about
right,
it.
don't end.
Right, it does not end.
But
Right.
so because I just watched it, I remember like the storyline, the plot. But basically, his parents were going out of town for his birthday. It was his birthday weekend, and his parents were like, "Oh, we should, we need to throw a party." He's like, 10 people max, 20 people max, and it ends up being like the whole Project X,
the whole city.
Like, even though Project X is extreme, I do feel like that space to rebel is also necessary in development, because I feel like even in my adulthood, I don't rebel enough. And even there's nothing to rebel against, but like even what I was talking to you about the other day about like the Chick-fil-A situation with work and like trying to figure out, okay, well, should I include everybody to just do it on my own? Like I feel like I'm so concerned with like doing the right thing that I just don't get what I want done, because instead of just going through with doing whatever I want because I want to.
And so you're connecting that to not having the space to push those boundaries, rebel, as you said, because I was so involved.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Okay, yeah, you can look at it that way. Yeah, we're not going to see eye to eye on that. But even if that is the case, and I can go with you on that. Like I said before, I'm okay with that. I will usher you in therapy with it. We will go through therapy together. And it's not me negating the potential damage, or what your hurtful, painful experiences were, and then outcomes, results of those experiences were. To me, it's a both and. It is, me meeting what I believe is my obligation as the parent, one, and then two, it is, okay, now this is the result of that. So then how do you deal with that? How do you show up here?
Yeah. I mean, everything is a cause and effect?
Correct.
Everything has a cause and effect.
Everything.
So I mean, there's no one size fits all.
Not at all. And like I always say, like when I talk to parents, is that every parent F's their child up. The most well-intentioned parent, the parent that has all the money in the world, you can afford whatever they want. The parent who ain't got the money, whatever it is, we're going to F our kids up to some degree. And I think I understood that early. And probably just me being a Sag, I'm just like, it is what it is. If I'm going to F her up, I'm going to F her up under these guidelines. Right. Versus maybe just sheer neglect or, something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world. But to your point, or maybe what I heard, and it was not your point, like you said, Project X, I loved that movie. And I remember watching it with you years ago. And it was because like that was ish that I lived. Like that was my teenagehood, my childhood. And that's exactly why when I had you, I said, oh, hell no. I'll be damned. If she pull a me,
a Project
X,
me,
right? So I definitely did a lot with you in terms of surveillance, surveilling you based off of what I did and got away with, and so that wasn't fair to you. It wasn't. What do I take it back? I don't though. I don't. Now the part that I will say I do take back is you did not need that type of surveillance.
Oh no, I didn't.
Right, right. So I regret not seeing you for just the child that you were and dealing with you at that level. Like I dealt with you according to who and how I was. So that is the part that I regret. Yeah. And so I apologize, for that and the damage, it created and it caused for you, in future, excuse me, future adulthood, things that you have to deal with as a result of not feeling like you had the space and opportunity to throw a party if you wanted to, Yeah, because I remember there was this, and I think I've told you this story. There was this this party that this guy was throwing. I think I was like maybe a freshman or sophomore in high school, and Me and Princess. You know, it's always me and Princess.
Whenever
you know?
some mess,
right? Whenever it's some mess, right? It's me and Princess. But we had devised this plan that we was gonna go, and I was like, yeah, my grandma is not gonna let me go because. So we knew that his parents, the guy who was throwing the party, his parents were out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, she ain't gonna let me go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we devised this plan where we were gonna have grandma call the number that we gave her, which was his house, you know, and speak to his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because grandma knew.
Their
okay,
parents.
yeah,
Okay.
they family. And so we did that. Who grandma actually ended up speaking to and talking to was a guy himself, the young man who was throwing the party, right? so he was acting like he was his dad and stuff, and she felt so much comfort, you know, after talking to him. Was like, oh, okay, yes, you know, you can go to this party. Child, me and Princess was like, oh, it's on, it's on. And so yeah, she drops me off to the party because you know, grandma, and this is where I get it from. We are timely people, baby. You know, like you say 7 o'clock is a party, we're gonna be there at 7 o'clock. You know, and so of course I'm the first one there. You know,
that's lame.
It was so lame.
But it works out for the story.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I had to do it. I had to play that part. I had to be lame because I couldn't let on that
this is a party.
Right, ain't no adults here, you know. But yeah, we went through that and had a ball. So it's like experiences like that, and even opportunities to create, to be devious. You know, I did rob you of that because, like, I feel like can't nobody run no game on me because I don't run it all. You know, and that's how I approached things with you, you know. So I'm like, oh no, I remember being at the payphones and, you know, calling somebody. You don't even know what a payphone is. That's crazy.
I know what a payphone is, but like crazy. I laugh because like I feel like the lack of access to your child or parent, even when they're away, also gave children that space to do whatever they want to do. So for example, when you said like you would call me and be like, okay, show me the house.
Yeah, video call. There was no such thing.
Right. Yes. Or we had ADT or something with like video cameras in the front. You could audio us in, intercom us in. What y'all doing?
Right.
Whereas y'all didn't have that access. So I think about that. I think about that when we talk about like needing, or not we, but like children talk about needing their phones in school. Because I don't necessarily agree with kids having phones in school just because of all the school shootings. But I also feel like y'all are at school. Y'all don't need to be on your phones anyway.
Wait, you said you don't agree with them having their phones because of the
school shootings? I do agree with them having their phones to a certain extent because of school shootings. So they should have access to their parents should there be a school shooter, which is what the time that we're in now. However, I wonder, like, I feel like because we have, help me with this. I feel like because we have access, I feel like that access kind of causes anxiety, whereas I'm sure back in your day, you would just sit to school and then rode the bus home, or however you got home. That just happened. Or for example, you would tell me, don't get in the car with nobody unless I told you that I sent them. Or if somebody was picking me up, you would send me a text, hey, so-and-so's picking you up from school today, whatever. Whereas I feel like back, okay. Walk with me. I have a couple of thoughts.
Okay.
I feel like because we didn't have so much individual access, we had to rely on our community, or y'all had to rely on y'all's community a little bit more. So for example, if you were going to school and Nana dropped you off, but then you see that grandma is there to pick you up, well, you knew, okay, well, I'm probably going to grandma's house. I'll just get into the car with grandma and then figure it out from there because that was part of your community. Whereas now, or I guess not now, but at my age, you were like, okay, well, I'll send you a text if somebody's going to come pick you up. So that kind of reduces the, I guess maybe the reliance on that community or that the way that it was when you were, help me with that.
I can kind of understand what you're saying, but I do think we need to refine it some more.
Okay.
So yes, like the whole premise that you would be in school and I would send you a text if something were to change in terms of like your transportation home is wild. You know, from where I come from, you know, and so that speaks exactly to what it is that I think you're saying with technology and whatever it's done with us versus me and several others. We just kind of figured it out.
Right. So say, for example, you at work, car breakdown, and it's 3 o'clock to go pick up your child. And your child is out there waiting to figure out, when's my mom coming, and then auntie comes. So let me just go ahead and jump in the car with auntie, and then we'll figure it out when I get to auntie house. Like those decisions, and almost kind of like an independence that children had to make those decisions and figure it out, were not want to say taken from us, but it just evolved differently because we have access.
Well,
so
it was
now,
taken.
It was taken.
Yeah, but I think like you're thinking of taking as like a negative connotation.
Yeah, because like it wasn't like intentionally stolen, but it's just things changed because now we have access.
Correct. Because like to your point in this illustration that you just used, of the figuring it out, if like your auntie or my auntie was picking me up, not just jump in the car with them, and then I have her call my mama, like let her know I'm with you. It's like you learn to be resourceful,
right?
Okay, and whereas y'all ain't got that resourcefulness, and as much as I point at y'all, I gotta point the finger at us. It's our fault that you all aren't as independent as you are, because we have all of these different tools in place that do remove you from having to even tap into that. Even if there were times similar to what you're describing where we were just left at school, we would walk, after so much time or whatever, or we may end up deciding that, okay, well, I'm gonna go home with this friend, or whatever. But there was still, like you just said, an independence and an ability to think of what was the best option in this scenario.
Because even going home with auntie or going home with a friend was a responsible decision to make after 45 minutes had passed.
Right.
My mom isn't here at my normal pickup time.
Do you remember when we were late coming to pick you up from the bus? So like when we moved, and the school that you were in, we were not zoned for, but I kept you in that school. And so you would ride the bus to our old apartment, and I would just come and pick you up from there. You don't remember that? This was like Fama. So this was, he was first grade. Yeah, so we were like maybe 5-10 minutes late pulling up to pick you up. No, the bus dropped you off early. That's what it was. Yeah, so that's what it made us late. But when we were pulling up, I'm noticing or getting close, I'm noticing that I didn't see kids. And I'm like, okay, usually I see kids walking, going to their homes and stuff like that by now. And I didn't see any of that. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? So as we get closer, I just see you. And you were so tiny, at that age. And you were just standing there like, what is going on? Like, you had no clue. You were like kicking the dirt, and it was just like you were having a whole meltdown. But I felt so bad. I jumped out the car and I was like damn near in tears, like, oh my God, baby, I'm so sorry. Like the bus got you here early, but it was like you were so relieved though when you saw me. But I mean, first grade, because you started school early, so you were still 5. Yeah. I can understand it from a 5-year-old though. I can get that because you all were not, you were not adultified, in the way that I was at 5. Child at 5, I'm at home by myself, but yeah, I can definitely understand. You have no recollection of that? Oh my God. Yeah, that stays in my mind, in my heart, because I felt like the worst parent in the world just for being I wasn't late, but just for not being there and causing you to have that sort of fear, in you. But oh my God, even thinking about it now, I'm like tearing up, like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I hate it. I mean, I can see you, I sent you to school with your hair done, but it was all over your head by the time I came to pick you up. But yeah, so yeah, there's definitely a difference, amongst the generations in terms of how we responded to rules, or really probably lack of. So in this, I guess, society of there is a rule to everything, and there has to be a rule to everything for one reason or another. And it's so interesting that I'm speaking to this because I'm a person who hates rules. it's like I hate him, but I don't. We have an interesting relationship.
Yeah.
Like I'm a person that I love to break rules. So maybe
Mhm.
that's why I like rules. I want to see if I
it
can
gives you
break
something to
them.
break, right?
Yeah. Maybe that's it. Yeah. Okay, but yeah. So this society, like I said, there's a rule for everything. Yet we grew up where we didn't have all those rules.
Mhm.
Like, which is better? Like, can we say that one is better over the other?
As far as that's a difficult conversation because I want to say the way that you grew up was better because, but it wasn't necessarily about the rules, about the access to information that y'all didn't have.
But I think to be established that early on, though, like the access is equivalent right now to amount of people, the quantities. Mm-hmm. So because there's so much access, you need to restrict or put restrictions on.
Yes. Because like we said earlier, we're not supposed to have that much access to everything all at one time. But then two, like you were saying, y'all had a sense of independence and responsibility at a younger age. Mm-hmm. So you were saying at 5, whether it was intentional or not, which I doubt it was intentional, you were left at home by yourself.
Right.
Which I can imagine no 5-year-old left alone by themselves.
Yeah.
But you were able to, I'm sure, feed yourself and not kill yourself.
Right.
Not open the door and whatever.
Right.
So
we learned how to do that.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Right. I feel like because we have so much access to everything and there are so many rules, at least what I see from my kids, they don't know how to think outside of the rules that they were given, which to me is a problem because you got to learn how to be creative and how to think outside of the box. So I would say from that standpoint, y'all's generation was better. Because even when I give my students an activity that with vague rules, sometimes I do that on purpose to make them think, well, I don't know what to do. And then they just sit there.
Right.
And I'm having to encourage them, okay, what do you think about this? Or how do you think about this? Or how would you put this together? I'm trying to get them those juices flowing. But at first glance, because there are no guidelines, they will just not do anything.
Wow. And I think that reminds me of the experience you shared with me about you were trying to figure out how do you teach kids how to play.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Yeah. Like walk me through that again.
We were outside and we'll be like we said before, like when teachers take their kids out to recess, that is a break for the teachers. So I'm thinking, y'all, please go play. And then we usually would go outside like 9 o'clock in the morning because it's cooler. Right. It's still like 80 degrees, but it's not as hot as 95. So I'm like, I don't be want to hear all that noise anyways first thing in the morning. So please go play. And there'll be 4 or 5 kids who make their way over to me and want me to entertain them. And Miss J, and they just want to talk to me and they just want to ask me questions. I'm like, no, leave me alone. Like, go play. Well, I'm bored. I'm like, y'all just playground here, this playground there, this swing set over here. Like, y'all can do something.
Right.
But they just don't know. Like, I feel like me and Kels or me and whatever friend, we will make up games and just make up rules as we go and just play and figure it out. Like, playing was a big deal, but they don't, because they don't play, they don't know how to just imagine something and then do that.
Yeah, and I hear it more than because they don't know how to play. I think they don't know how to play because so playing, I believe at the root of that involves like imagination, it involves creativity, it involves ingenuity, it involves like you just said, thinking out of the box. Well, in a world where everything is done for you, you know, even the thinking, you know, it's done for you. Like we discussed, these children have phones, you know, incredibly high tech phones, you know, at 5, 6, 7, 8.
They got unlimited data.
Right. Right. You know, like all of this access, they don't have to even deal with what I'll call the creativity of when I was coming up, we had free first minute of a phone call before a certain time or at a certain time of the day. And so like if somebody was calling you, you had to tell them like, yo, this is my free minute, hurry up and say something. And then you hang up because after that minute, it starts to charge you like X amount cents per minute. And so you went through that, but it caused, it created, I'm gonna still say ingenuity, you know,
because you have to get to the point.
Get to the point, yes, or call back and keep on saying it and call back, you know, whatever that was. It was like, yeah, because we were, or so the word I was going to use was we were restricted. but I don't think I want to use it. I'll say because we didn't have as much access. Yeah, it caused us, it allowed us to be more creative in how we went about just even basic things like calling somebody on the phone. And so I think in absence of micro experiences like that, that obviously we don't see anymore, we have created a generation and will continue to create generations of people who don't know how to respond in whatever given situation. Like if it's not something that is thought out for them, they don't know what to do. If there aren't clear cut instructions, they don't know how to think about it.
Right.
You know, and that's scary. So I can see, like, going back to my question of like which is better, I would definitely choose my upbringing over yours, because I feel like I was the last. My generation was the last of the greats. The greats, yeah. You, not you personally, but your generation and going before, y'all suck. Y'all suck.
I feel like there's a window.
Okay.
Because you cannot lump in all Gen Z together.
It's all y'all.
No. You got 2000. I'll be generous and say the 2004, and that is being generous.
So just
we're the last. Yes.
That's it.
Or I don't know when Gen Z starts, but
yeah,
up until 2004, and that is me being generous. That is the last.
No,
that is the last of the last of the last. Of
you
the last.
suck too. Like even with the awesome parent that you had me, yes, like you suck. And I'd be like, some of the stuff you come to me with, I'd be like, bruh.
Like what?
And I can't really think of anything right now. I know.
But you know, you had that reaction.
Yeah, I just remember calling Duran being like, I don't see how she don't see this. You know, but yeah, I have to, I guess, come up with that and tell you.
But I mean, is that generational, or is that just the point of my development? Is that to be being 22, 23?
Is that you being 2023?
22, 23.
Oh, like got you. That's tough for me to say because I've been your age and I'm not too far away from your age.
But I mean, you were my age and you were a parent.
Yeah.
So I do feel like I get to think about things differently because you had a 4-year-old?
I did. However, and maybe, but I feel like there's a big part of me that's giving me in that situation too much credit. And maybe because I just want y'all to be stupid. Because maybe that's just how I look at y'all. Like, y'all just stupid. But I think that there is still something to be said about lack. That I think kind of the theme of what we've been talking about, it does create a certain resilience in an individual and a certain independence and a resourcefulness that we're not seeing in you all. And like I also said, that's not 100% y'all's fault. That's our fault because we the ones giving y'all everything. You know, I've told you the story of Greg when he owned that ice cream shop and how he said he just could not keep employees, right? Because typically it's like little high school kids working at an ice cream shop, but he could never keep them. And I had to tell him, well, it's because they don't have to work.
They don't have to.
For anything. Like our first cars, we had to put in on it. You know, our first cars, we had to buy insurance. Our first cars, we're trying to, you know, save money to put some sound in it, some beat in it, you know, put some shoes on it, you know, whatever that is, we had to, you know, throw something in on it. Well, we're giving our kids everything. Like I remember even I had a Super Nintendo and I wanted a particular game. And, you know, grandma was like, okay, well, I get you, but you got to go half on me with it. So how you going to save your money? You know, but that's something that y'all don't experience, you know, because we give you all everything. And I think even with you, like, we gave you a lot of money, I think. You know?
I was definitely balling.
Yeah,
I definitely was.
Right.
I definitely was.
In terms of like your allowance, I mean, and of course I didn't give you allowance unless I allow you to live here.
In my house.
Yes.
My water. Even electricity.
Right. So I don't believe in allowances, but
like birthdays and dance recitals, and like accomplishments like that.
Correct. So do you see how, or do you believe that you had a similar type of upbringing to what I'm describing I had in having to pay your dues, maybe?
Similar, but still different because I didn't have to use my own money to pay for something.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my working for it was being a good kid, following the rules, being respectful, getting good grades, whatever. That was my working for it. And I would earn it that way. Whereas I feel like you're describing, you're literally having to go to work and save each of your checks to put towards this game or whatever it is you wanted. So yes, because I mean, if I got a bad grade or if I didn't do something right, everything's getting taken away. So yes, but no, because I didn't really have to pay anything.
Yeah. So what that's now causing me to think about is what you said several minutes ago, and it was something to the effect of you being so focused on like doing the right thing. Do you think maybe that's tied to because of how you were or how I reinforced or how I celebrated it doing the right thing, such as the grades? So when you got good grades, you know, it was all this money or whatever, versus when you did not. So did that somehow also, not somehow, did that indirectly or directly teach you that I gotta always be this type of person, this good person, because this good person gets praise, recognition?
And what I'll also say is, like we said earlier, I wasn't a child that really needed like to be punished for anyways, but when you did, it was always to the extreme. So I feel like the stakes were much higher for me to be in trouble than they were for me to do good. So I feel like being good was like neutral because I was always a good person anyways. But then like whenever I did something wrong, it was like I'm going to hell and back. Like
so like
it was so extreme.
Give me an example of wrong.
When I stole those glasses.
I knew you was gonna say that. I knew it. Yeah.
And just for context, for people that watch, I didn't really steal the glasses. So we're gonna go to the story.
Yes.
You and Kels both wore glasses, and I was the only one who didn't wear glasses. And I was maybe fourth grade or something, like.
I believe so. Yeah.
Third or fourth grade. So I'm 7-ish, 8-ish, and I wanted some glasses so bad, and I just didn't need them, so I didn't have any. Well, I'm in the cafeteria. We went to the cafeteria at the end of the day, and that's where they called us for your bus numbers. So say, okay, bus number 371, come line up, and they sat you at your table until your bus is ready to load. So while I'm waiting at my bus at my bus table, there's this pair of glasses just sitting there, and I was like, I found some glasses.
Look at God.
It was literally a blessing. Like I really felt like I had like the spotlight on the glasses and the angels were singing. Like it was perfect. I was like, oh. And it's like the thing is, like I didn't know that I did anything wrong because I was excited to show you that I got some glasses. And I've been talking about it for weeks and months. So I'm like, look, mommy, I got me some glasses. Mommy, you were like, whose glasses did you take?
Right.
And it became and it was mommy. Then it was on a Friday. So that whole weekend, I couldn't do nothing. Like I was in my room. Like it was such an extreme punishment. And I didn't even know that I realized that I did anything wrong. So I can understand, I did steal, but the intent behind it was, now you don't have to pay for no glasses because I found some.
Right.
And then they were left there. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I didn't take them from anybody. I didn't steal out somebody's backpack. They were just right there. So I feel like in that conversation or in that scenario, I could have been dealt with the explanation of this stealing.
Correct.
So don't do this next time. But I remember you had me on Monday go to the principal. I stole these glasses.
You have to cry. But yeah,
I don't know. I was being criminalized.
You're right. So yeah, and I definitely see that. And even hearing your explanation or the context of why those glasses were so important to you then and how you thought about it as a 7-8-year-old, I definitely understand that. I did not understand that now. Would I have dealt with you differently? Like knowing what I know, I probably would have. I probably would have just, like you said, talked to you because I understood and understand that you weren't rationalizing it as theft. That's how the adult, rationalize. You take something that doesn't belong to you, that's theft. I ain't raising no thief, you know? And that was what you got in your punishment, in your discipline. But had I taken the time perhaps to just see you for who you were, the child that you were, and realize that she don't steal. So there has to be something else to this glasses taking thing, that I should actually be more focused on. Then yes, I definitely would have dealt with that differently and should have dealt with that differently. And I can see that being an example of something extreme, or when you weren't on, that the punishment was extreme.
Right.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It was. I apologize for that. Yeah, that sucks. It does. And at the same, I don't know. No, I'm not gonna do that, because when you apologize, just leave it at an apology. Don't give no but. Don't give. I apologize, baby. I apologize for how that caused you to feel then, and then even how how it registers to you now, even reflecting. Back on that, I apologize for all of those residual feelings. Yeah, I should have dealt with that a lot better, and I didn't. And you did not deserve that.
Thank you.
So yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I don't know, John, how much time? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So yeah, like I guess just kind of tying all of this into the conversation about rules, like why we have all these rules and are they even necessary? We've dealt with the subjectivity of so many, so I guess like just the last takeaways, like, do you believe that rules are important, they're necessary, they serve a purpose?
Within its context, yes. So like I was saying, if I had 5 kids at work versus all 18, I'm on 10. All of my rules, we are doing everything to the T. When it's 5 kids, y'all still can't hit each other. Y'all still can't go outside by yourselves, but I am a little bit more relaxed because there's a little bit of y'all. And it depends on who the kids are, because that plays a part into, they're not gonna hit each other. Or they can be in the game room, they fine. So
what I hear you saying is that everything is nuanced.
Yes, everything
so
is
we
nuanced.
Can't just say, no, we don't need all these rules, or no, yeah, we could do with fewer or more, whatever. It's
nuanced.
Yeah, it's nuanced. And I think I agree with that also. Yeah. And I think if we took more of a nuanced approach and understanding to just, restrictions, rules, boundaries, limitations, in general, or maybe overall, I think that we could create more of like relatability to each other if we did that. And then we would also probably find that there's not even as much of a need for certain people like myself to try to break the rules.
Right.
So yeah, I get that. Okay. Well, yeah, I appreciate it, baby. That was good. This was really good. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for chatting. Yeah, that's good.